Hey everybody, Matt here. Obviously this is going to be my review on the Glock 17. Now I told a lot of you guys out there I was not going to be doing a review on the Glock 17 because there are literally thousands of reviews out there on YouTube on the Glock 17. There are tens of thousands of reviews just on Glocks in general, and let's be honest, I mean, a Glock is a Glock. It will differ in caliber and maybe in barrel length, you know, a little bit size there, but it's a Glock, so a review is a review. But in the last couple of months, I've gotten a lot of requests to do a review on this. You know, it's the only thing I can figure is you guys just want more gun porn, and you know, I'm more than happy to give you a gun porn. And I figure while I'm at it, I might as well throw a little review on top of there to kind of satisfy everybody. So let's just jump right in. Glock 17 Gen 3. This is what Glock calls their standard size. Basically, if you don't live in Austria, that pretty much means that's a full-size pistol. Striker-fired pistol, I'll go into a little bit more on that in a minute. What you're going to use this is going to be for the range, for home defense, self-defense, open carry. This is not something I would recommend for concealed carry. I know there are people out there that do concealed carry this, but this is not, it's not a recommendation from me. Okay, I think the gun is just too big for concealed carry. So that's just my opinion. Let's go ahead and jump into the specs here real quick. Okay, we're looking at 7.3 inches long, 5.2 inches high. Going to run in right at about a little over an inch wide. I think it's like 1.1 inches wide. Very, very similar to a 1911. It's a very thin profile with a 4.5 inch barrel. Weighs in at 22 ounces. Now this is Glock 17, so it's going to be a 9mm, 17 round capacity on your magazines, unless of course you live in a socialist state like Connecticut, or I'm sorry, not Connecticut, Massachusetts, excuse me, or California, where you're stuck with 10 rounds. If you're not in one of those horrible, horrible states, you can get yourself a 33 round mag. A lot of fun at the range. Let's jump right into the meat of the discussion here. Let's talk about all the goodies you get with the Glock. Okay, obviously it's a polymer frame pistol. Let's talk about the trigger here real quick. Trigger's going to run in right at about 5.5 pounds. Now that's a pretty much an industry standard for most of your striker-fired pistols without external safety. It's going to run right around 5.5 pounds. So, you know, nothing unusual about that. I do want to talk a little bit about the trigger as far as the feel of the trigger. Glocks for me have always had kind of a squishy feeling trigger regardless of what model I've shot, and they have kind of a squishy take up, and I'll show you what I mean here. Let's go ahead and basically get it ready to fire. Would that there was a magazine in there. Now you're in the ready to fire position here. Okay, now you see this, see all that take up in the pistol? It hasn't fired yet. That's just all take up, and I can push on that pretty vigorously, okay, without it firing. Hear that noise? A lot of squishy, kind of drags a little bit. You know, just, you know, real squishy. Now, once you get back to here, fairly clean braking. Not perfect, but fairly clean braking. Now here's where the Glock trigger really stands out. Okay, once you fired your first round, the gun has racked the slide and put a new round in. If you just let it go till it resets, right there, very clean braking trigger. There's the reset, boom, very clean brake. Now, in that way, the trigger's great. However, when you let it all the way out, that's where you get the squishiness. So that's you know, that's just my personal opinion. Some of you out there may not you know, have a problem with it. I don't really have a problem with it. Obviously, it's not enough to make me not buy the gun, but it is something you should know about before you go and get it. Especially if you're coming off of something like a 1911 or something with a real light, crisp trigger, it might be something you want to think about. Just, you know, just to put it out there. As far as the controls on the gun, I know a lot of people who change out the controls on the gun for extended controls on their mag release and their slide lock. I personally like them. I like the way they work. For me and for my hand, they function very well. I'm able to actuate the controls without adjusting my firing grip on the gun, so I'm very happy with them. I'm not the kind of guy who likes to mess with a lot of stuff on my guns or change things up, but even if I was, the controls on this particular gun work very well for me. Also, another common complaint people have is obviously the grip. A lot of people get this shaved down. People are more used to a 1911 style grip, both in angle and in width. You know, people like to make adjustments to this. That's fine. You know, personally for me, I don't have real big, like meaty hands, but I have long fingers, and the extra, you know, part on this grip here makes it feel like my finger is not completely wrapping all the way around the trigger there, which I like. So I'm a fan of the grip. As far as the angle goes, it does, if you're coming off, especially if you're coming off of something like 1911, it does take a little time to get used to the more European angle of this Glock, but it's not an issue at all as far as I'm concerned. You know, shoot a few rounds through it and you'll adjust. Some people complain that they shoot too high. You know, well, just put the gun back down. It's not a big fucking deal. You know, stop complaining about it. That's just my opinion. Okay, as far as accessories and things like that go, there are just a literal shit ton of accessories you can buy for Glock. I think other than the 1911, the Glock is the most accessorized pistol on the market. Go to any, you know, store, online store that sells, you know, gun parts, and you're going to find hundreds of things that you can do to your Glock. So there's no end. Anything you want to do to a Glock, you can. As far as durability, reliability goes, this is where the Glock shines. I like to compare the Glock to the AK-47, okay? Very loose tolerances, very durable, very reliable. It is not the most accurate pistol in the world. Some people are going to get pissed at that, but it is true. It is not the most accurate pistol in the world. It is more than accurate enough for anything anybody's going to need to do with it. But it was not designed to be a competition gun, okay? It was designed to be a durable, reliable military and law enforcement weapon. And that is exactly what it is. Okay, it is a very reliable and very durable military and law enforcement weapon. Okay, so it works well at what it was designed to do. A little bit of history on it. I'm not going to go into too much. It's a Glock. You can get history on these things all over the place, but it was designed by an engineer named Gaston Glock, who didn't have any firearms experience at all. And basically the Austrian military was looking for a new pistol. Now, Gaston Glock did have a lot of experience in synthetic polymers, so he kind of got sucked into it, and I'm sure he's very glad he did. You know, hence we have the Glock 17, which was the original. Now, the Austrian military was looking to replace the Walther P38, which they had been using since World War II. I think this was in 1980 is when they were announcing they were going to look for a new pistol. At this point in time, Gaston Glock had already started working on the Glock under the assumption that at some point in the near future, I think he started working on it in the late 70s, that at some point in the near future, the Austrian military was going to be looking at a new pistol. And of course they did, and you know, the rest is history. I will tell you that for a lot of you that don't know this, that there was several other pistols that you know very well that were in the running that the Glock beat out. H&K had two pistols. One was the P9S and one other one, and they might have even had a third pistol, I'm not sure, but I know they had at least two pistols in the running. SIG had their P220 and P226. Beretta obviously had the 92. FN had a version of the high power, and Steyr had a pistol. Okay, now out of all those pistols, the Glock, you know, outdid all of them in what the Austrian military was looking for. So that's kind of where it got off where it got to its start, and then obviously it kind of migrated into Western Europe, and then it crossed the pond and hit us over here in the U.S. In the late 80s, and you know, it just gained a lot of momentum from there. But that's just a little bit on the history of it. Okay, jump into the looks of this pistol. Well, it's a Glock, okay? It is not the prettiest pistol in the world, okay? This is not a 1911. This is no SIG. This is no Beretta, you know, M9. This is a pretty basic, blocky looking pistol. So it looks okay. Some people really like the look. They love the utilitarian look of this pistol. Me personally, I kind of like other pistols better. I like SIGs, I like Berettas, I like 1911s. I think they're pretty pistols, you know what I mean? Glock is not a pretty pistol. It looks like what it is, which is a durable, rugged, utilitarian type of pistol. So as far as appearance goes, that's kind of my opinion on it. Okay, To sum up, price, value, what can you expect to get out of this, and what can you expect to get it for? We'll start at $450 for a new Gen 3. Gen 3 is what I would recommend right now, having not gotten my hands on Gen 4s and having heard a lot of iffy reports on the Gen 4s. I think Glock will eventually clear those up, but for now, I would say if you're going to go buy a new Glock, there's still plenty of Gen 3s out there, and since the Gen 4s have come out, the prices have dropped on the Gen 3s. That's why I say you can start looking for new model Gen 3s, running at around 450 bucks, up to, let's say, 520 or 530. Okay, that's what you can expect to pay within that $60 to $70 range. That's what you can expect to pay for a good Glock 17. So anyway, that's about it, man. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you liked the gun porn. And there you go. There's a little more gun porn for you. Ooh. Anyway, I appreciate you guys watching. I'm going to get out of here. Any questions, comments, video responses, anything, let me know. That's what it's all about. And we'll talk to you later. Thanks.